Hello. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to check whether your password is strong or not. When we're picking a new password, it can be quite tricky sometimes to decide whether it's a strong one or a weak one. And sometimes the sites that you're entering the password into will give you some feedback. They're not always reliable as to whether a password is actually strong. And if you're reusing passwords, and most of us do, we don't recommend that, but we do it anyway, you want to make sure your password is actually a strong one. So just wanted to chat to you about how we can check whether your password is strong or not. So luckily there are a few tools that we can use. They're free tools and they're secure to use. And I just wanted to take you through a couple of the tools that we know about that you can easily check. So let me just share my screen and I'll take you through the tools that we can use. So the first one we've got here is the Kaspersky password checker. It's very good for detecting whether or not your password has been discovered or not. One of the things that is quite common for hackers is they check to see what other passwords have already been hacked. And they just try those ones on everybody because they can, because they're really common. So for instance, one of the top password in the entire world to use is, let's do this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is number 1, and you can see that it has in fact been cracked according to Kaspersky. What's that, 24 million times. So if you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you probably should stop doing that. You're basically just giving hackers free access to your resources. The other tool that you can use is Password Monster. Now this gives you slightly different information. This will tell you if someone tries to crack your password, how long it could potentially take them if they're using an average PC. If they've got some pretty serious tools, it'll take less than this, but you can see if we put in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 once again, it will take exactly 0 seconds to crack your password. So if someone gets into your door, they're definitely getting in. You've wasted your time with your password. So one of the other things that is quite a helpful tool is to actually check and see what are the top passwords and if your password is among them. Now there's this JPEG that goes around the internet quite a bit. You can Google it, type in most used passwords in the world, and this one pretty much comes up all the time as number 1, and it gives you a list of this one's the 50 top passwords. Now what's happened is that someone has diligently gone through all the 10 million passwords that have been cracked from various sources. They've gone through and they've collated the 50 top ones to use. So if your password is in this top 50, you definitely want to change it. And this particular graphic actually gives us a few more passwords to pretty much not use. If you see it on this JPEG, you definitely want to get rid of it. So it has all sorts of interesting things on this as well, but the actual wording of your password is probably the most important thing to check out. So if it's on the list, don't be using it. However, what we can do is you can use these two tools, the Kaspersky tool and your Password Monster tool, to actually just see, for instance, if your password's been used by somebody else already, and there's a lot of us in the world and we all have similar experiences, so pretty much it probably has been. So let's see, let's pick, say, New Zealand. Let's see how many people use that. There you go, 10,000 people have had this particular password leaked. So how about, let's pick something a bit more closer to home to us, password 178 times. So you can see that there are a lot of similarities in the passwords that we pick. Now let's check the strength meter for, let's say, New Zealand. It's going to be, oh look, a whole 3 minutes to crack that password. So basically you're not giving hackers anything really to work with. I mean, if they're in 3 minutes, though, you might as well have not put a password on. So let's pick another. Oh, look at that killer. Let's try that one. Let's see how long that would take. There you go, a good 0 seconds. And one of the reasons that these top passwords get cracked so quickly is because the hackers have these passwords at the ready, and they just file through every single one of them in the hope that you've used them. And we do use them. We use these passwords a lot, so they really, really need to go. So how do we pick a strong one? That's the real question here is, okay, well, we know what the weak ones are. Let's get rid of them. How do you pick a strong one? Now, the easiest way to pick a strong one is to use a passphrase. This might be something that you've heard of before, but it's definitely something that's becoming more popular. So one of the tricky things with passwords, if you're doing capitals and numbers and symbols, and they can be really, really hard to remember, but they're really, really easy to crack. So which is basically given computers all of the advantage. So what's really, really hard for computers is things that are really long. We're actually really good at long things because we use them all the time, and that's sentences. So if you use a sentence that relates to you in some way, or to your environment, a lot of people will use items that they see on their desk. For instance, you could use something like a water glass is empty. I should fill it. And then you can see, while that's fairly easy for me to remember, it's really, really difficult for a computer to figure it out. It's going to take 3 million years. And similarly, if we test our password with Kaspersky, that will tell us that it has never, ever been used, or at least leaked, by anybody else. So that's a really, really secure password. However, I probably wouldn't use that because I'd probably, what was it, a water glass on my desk? Was the stapler? Or was going to use a hole punch? No, so what I would actually use something is a little bit more close to me that I'm not going to forget. So I might use my kids' names, for instance, Isaac and Nathaniel and Reuben are the cutest kids. Now that's a phrase that I'm going to remember because I think it's true. And it's something that relates specifically to me. Now you can see that is really, really hard for a computer to crack. 4 million years is pretty darn good. Let's see what Kaspersky makes of it. Let's see, has anyone else used this password? Well, not as far as data leaks go. It doesn't exist anymore. So that's a seriously strong password, but really, really easy for me to remember. Now, with password creation, we're often told it needs to be 8 characters or whatever. But there's no limit to that. You can have as many characters as you like. You can have 256, you can have 1 million if you wanted, but you're not restricted, so you don't have to stick to 8. You can have as many as you like. So that's where a passphrase comes in very handy, easy to remember, very, very hard to crack. So go ahead and change those easy passwords. Check out the top used password list. Make sure you're not on that list at the very least, and then go and check your passwords. All right. Good luck with that.